Hello students, Namaskar. Education is often hailed as the cornerstone of progress, the ladder to success. But what happens when this vital pathway is burdened with taxes? Today, we delve into the important and intriguing topic of how students in India are taxed. How they are made to pay for a system that they did not create. Are students the new revenue source for the government? Are these taxes stifling the dreams of countless students? Join us as we uncover the financial burdens on their future, our future, India's future. Listen as we uncover how we are stifling our own future. So to talk about the cost of education and the taxes on education, the taxes that students are being made, we should understand how the education ecosystem works. We created a schooling system where everything is taught. But then we created an entrance examination. This entrance examination, the questions that come in the entrance exam are not possibly being taught in the school. So what do students do? They go to a coaching institution. We actually have an entrance exam for every student who wants to pursue an undergrad course. NEET for medical, JEE for engineering, CUET for most of the central universities, CLAT for law, CAT for management, UPSC, NDA, Banking Service Recruitment Board, UGC NET, Staff Selection Commission. So you essentially have an entrance exam for everything. Now, what do students do? For them to succeed, they need to go to these coaching institutions. In 2016, the National Sample Survey said 7.1 crore students are enrolled in tuitions across the country. 7.1 crore. And this was 2016. The way it was going, it would be close to 10 crores today, which is 100 million students in coaching institutions in the country. That is 1/3 of students who are right now studying in schools or colleges. And we always thought this coaching was a temporary solution, but now it's become a lifestyle. With the numbers ballooning, it's now become a lifestyle. In 2015, an expert committee estimated that the market of coaching, not just tuitions, just coaching was 24,000 crores. In 2022, another study found that the total coaching market was 58,000 crores. By 2028, this market will jump to about 1.34 lakh crores. 1.34 lakh crores. That is a 448% jump in just 13 years. And this should pain all of us. In 2021, if you just look at the GST collections on from just coaching institutions, in 2021, the GST collection from coaching institution was 2,215 crores. 2215 crores. But by 23-24, just in 4 years, it jumped to 5,517 crores. So today, the government of India collects GST from coaching institutions, which is 5,517 crores. And it is growing at a massive rate because just in 4 years, the revenue on GST from coaching went up by 149%. This 5,517 crores, as GST collection from coaching alone, is at 18% GST rate. The GST that is being paid by the student, if the fee charged by a coaching institute is 1 lakh, the billing is 1,18,000 because 18% is the GST on top of the 1 lakh. The total collection, as I told you, is 5,517 crores. By the way, before 2014, this tax was just 12.36%, which has grown to 18% since 2014 onwards. After coaching, let us start dealing with skilling or training courses. Industry bodies all around the country have been crying hoarse that many of the graduates that are passing through our education system are not employable. In fact, the Economic Survey report of 23-24 reports that only 51.25% of India's graduates are deemed employable, which means about half the people are not employable. So what do the students do? They have to go for a skilling or a certification course. In 2023, there was one report which said that just the IT skilling market, is $4 billion, which is about 35,000 crores, which essentially means that at 18% GST that the student is made to pay, the student should be paying 5,000 crores extra. Before 2014, these skilling and certification courses that are offered by an Indian education institution, which is regulated by the government of India, comes under the aegis of UGC or AICT, the tax rate was 0%, but now it is 18%. And similarly, the upskilling and certification programs offered by non-education institutions, which are not regulated by UGC, AICT and the likes, was earlier 12.36%, now it is 18%. So what was 0% at education institutions has become 18%, and what was 12.36% in formal skilling and certification institutions has now become 18%. So across the board, you actually got 18%. And by the way, it doesn't stop here. The transportation services, the bus which takes you from your home to your college, the GST is 18%. The security services at a hostel is 18%. The housekeeping services at a hostel are 18%. The catering services at a hostel are 18%. All this is being burdened on the student. Now the government has come up with a clarification that, listen, if the university were to provide all these facilities or services by themselves, it is 0%. That is correct. But the universities and education institutions are not in the business of transportation, not in the business of catering, not in the business of housekeeping services. They still try to go for the outside contract because they want to keep their hands clean so that they can focus on academics. But all this comes at a cost which is being paid by the student, which is 18%. Before 2014, all this was zero. All this was zero, now it is 18%. And it goes further. Erasers that our children use is at 5% GST. Pencil crayons, pastels, drawing charcoals are at 12% GST. Pencil sharpeners are 12% GST. Forget about all those things. Even geometry boxes and color boxes are at 12%. And this ultimately is being paid by all of us. Now, does it stop at the cost side of it? No, not just that. Remember, all of us, there is a section in income tax called section 80C, which allows all of us the school fee that we pay for our children to be deducted from the total income when you're computing the taxable income. And that is 1.5 lakh, right? But the fee increased about 6 times since 2014-15 when this 1.5 lakh limit was provided. Since 2014-15, this ceiling of 1.5 lakhs has not been increased, while a cost of education increased by between 4 to 6 times. The 1.5 lakh remains as it is since 2014 when it was last revised by the then finance minister. And this should cost all of us, because while you're increasing the taxes on one side, the GST is increased every single time, but the deductions that are possible for us to when we're spending money on our children has just remained stagnant because the government believes that there is no increase in cost of education. Whereas the GST itself has been increased from 0 to almost 18% in many cases, or from 12% to 18% in a few cases. So what essentially happened? Till now we just spoke about the GST or the taxes that are being paid by the student through expenditure tax. And that itself is quite humongous. Just in coaching, about 5,500-6,000 crores, going up to 10,000-15,000 crores over the next 3-4 years. Then we have on skilling, on sharpeners, stationery, pencil, hostel, everything you have, right? Everything is being taxed. On the other hand, most taxpayers or all the taxpayers in India have been paying education cess. This was imposed in 2004, but continue to increase. And today we pay about 4% of our taxes as education cess only, right? The cess is 4% over the tax that we pay. This 4% in 24-25 would be 62,250 crores. In 23-24, it was 54,750. By the way, there is 3% only because 1% is health cess. So we recalculated or recalibrated the total collection to 3% of the total amount. Right. Now, the education part of it is about 54,750 crores in 23-24 and 62,250 crores in 24-25. It started with about 32,585 in 2018-19. This is cess that is supposed to ensure that the cost of education is limited. The government of India invests more in education and to a large extent creating larger social infrastructure so that there are more schools, colleges in the country. But while the cess kept increasing, the student also started getting taxed. While we are paying more tax on our income so that we can subsidize education, the cost of education also increased because there was more and more GST being imposed on education for things that the students did not create. In fact, a report which was released by one of the research companies said that India's education market is going to be about $313 billion. $313 billion across education and skills, of which how much is formal or how much is informal is an independent question, but the informal sector would be large and huge portion of this whole thing. And the way we're going, this portion is being taxed at about 18%. 18%. All this would be paid by the student, which is where the problem is, because while the cost of education is increasing, the government is making more revenue off the student by levying 15% on top of that. And very clearly, the student is paying this entire 18% GST because the pass-through is not working the way it should be. So where does it all leave us? We have a situation where all of us are paying education cess, but it's not reducing the cost of education. In fact, the systems and structures that we created made it contrary to everything that we wanted. We actually have GST being levied on everything that the student is being made to consume or forced to consume. In a country where right to education is a fundamental right, where reaping demographic dividend is the biggest hope for this country, a country where the biggest tool of empowerment is only education, India should not be taxing its students. These students are studying hard, they're sacrificing a lot, all because they can participate in national building. Today, students are taxed at every opportunity, at every level, at every corner. Structures, exams, and screenings are created that forces students to spend so that they can succeed, so that they can also be taxed. Education and students have become a source of revenue for the governments. This must stop. India must invest in education, in its students, in its people, so that a productive workforce can be created, and this can make India happy and a prosperous nation. Jai Hind, Namaskar.